What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch video. This is more like a clock video, but what you see before you are 4 JLC or Jaeger Lecoultre clocks. These are different iterations of clocks that they've made over the years. These are travel clocks. Actually, these are all pretty much around the same time. I have a really an appreciation for clocks in general. I have this really old clock that I keep on my desk. This is an 8-day clock made by Elgin. And I've actually shown this clock in a couple of videos in the past. This is actually an American-made clock that was in an airplane, and they put it into this big 90mm brass shell. Just a really cool clock. I keep that. It's in every video that I do, pretty much. And recently I've gotten into some of these Jaeger clocks, or Lecoultre, depending on which one we're looking at. And one of the reasons why I got into them, I've always looked at them. Actually, I've been looking at them for years, and then recently, and I know a lot of you are probably familiar with the clock that Hodinkee did. They did a travel clock, and it's an 8-day alarm clock. So essentially, it's an 8-day reserve. So you wind the clock, and you have 8 days of power, and then it's also an alarm. Now, on the desk, I actually don't have that exact watch, or clock. However, what I do have is this. This is an 8-day, and I'll just put this away. Away from the other clock so you could see it. This is actually an 8-day clock. I wound this up just for this video. Normally, I don't keep them running. I just have them as sort of display in my house, all over my house. Actually, I really love them. I love seeing them. And I do wind them from time to time, but not very often. So you can see this is actually closes up just like this, and the leather on here is pretty rough. However, the brass on the side is pretty good. And when you want it to sit on a desk, you just fold it out like that, and it sits like that. And I'll do some pictures so you could see exactly how that sits. And for you to change the time, you just pull out the clock like this. And you could wind it here with this big crown, just like this. And it's amazing. This is a clock from probably the 1930s, but it winds so solidly and it feels so well made. It's pretty incredible. Now, this is not an alarm version, so unfortunately, this one is not an alarm version. But as you guys know, this version of this clock was sold basically by Hodinkee. They recreated some of the cases. So they basically took this design. It's this exact case, this foldable case. They put it in their signature leather, which is like a grayish leather. It has a similar pattern or texture to this leather, I believe, or it might be a grain leather. I don't remember. And it's in a gray color. What they did was they took the clock themselves. So these clocks were actually made by one manufacturer. The movement itself was made by one manufacturer, and then they were recased into all of these different cases. And some of these are 2 days, actually. This is an 8-day alarm. But this one is actually smaller. As you can see, it's actually smaller than this 8-day. So the one that Hodinkee uses is this one right here, not this one. This is just like a ½ inch, or about a little bit more than a ½ inch smaller than this 8-day. And then this is also a 2-day. This is a 2-day alarm, and this is a 2-day alarm as well. So that, like I said, they came in a couple of different cases. This is an all brass case. This was never covered in leather, as you can see, and they all sit the exact same way as that other one that I just showed you. They all sit like that on your table or desk, wherever you want to keep it, for, purposes of telling the time. And obviously, if you're traveling, then you could set an alarm. You could use that as an alarm. Hodinkee actually charged $5,900 for theirs. So just to give you an idea of what I've spent and which ones are working here. Well, actually, they are all working. The only ones that I have wound are these two, because I want to show you some of the functionality. But this one with a functioning 8-day clock in it, I paid $150 for this one. I paid $50 for this one. This is a 2-day, and it's an alarm, actually. This is exactly the same as this one, except it has an alarm function, and it is only a 2-day power reserve, which is fine by me because really it's really not that bad. And you can see all of the actual gearing is on the back of the watch. A lot of that's been worn away over time. It doesn't tell you, you know, it used to say this was the alarm, this is the movement. This is for setting the movement. This is for setting the alarm. That no longer is here because it's been worn away. It's on brass and was printed on. So all of that is gone. However, this is in pretty excellent condition when considering that I paid $50 for it. And it's in a functioning alarm with a 2-day reserve. This is a functioning alarm with an 8-day reserve. And again, another really, really well preserved clock. This actually still has the numbers here that identify the clock itself. Again, when they're folded up, they could sit like this. These cannot sit flat on their backs because you do have that gearing. The knobs are on the back. However, you could lay it down like this if you wanted to. Really, out of the bunch, I think the most desirable would be this case with an 8-day alarm. But out of all of these, this is probably my favorite because you do get the 8-day, and also when it lays down, it is flat because on the back you do not have that gearing. And even if this was an alarm, that gearing would again be on the back of the actual clock here, so you would not have to worry about it. That was the original color of the leather back there. It's like a chocolate brown rather than this very dark brown. Anyway, so you can see this is clicking along, really telling perfect time actually. $150. Let me close that up and I'll put this to the side. This one was another one for about $60. This is an 8-day alarm. Again, this is the smaller, less desirable one. I would say it's less desirable. I'm not sure if it really is, but again, this has a little bit of a pitting on the brass here, but nothing you can actually you can't fix. This is something you definitely can fix. This was about $50, $60, somewhere in there. And then this one was actually the cheapest. I paid $40 for this, and this has a functioning alarm. You can see here, actually a lot of the print is available, or not available, but is still on here. So you can see it says alarm, movement wind, fast, slow, and then it says alarm wind there. All the knobs are in really good condition. This one's actually in pretty decent condition considering, and especially the dial. Actually, the reason why I bought all of these dials are almost mint condition. The hands are almost mint condition. You get blued steel hands on all of these. These are all loomed. I'll do a loom shot at the end of this video, just as a you know, a laugh. But these are watches from the 1930s, so and the 1940s. They have looms. Some of them are probably reloomed. A lot of the dials are exactly the same, as you can see, just different colors. This has a 2 at the bottom because this is a 2-day reserve, where it has an 8. It's an 8-day reserve, obviously. So very interesting watches, and I think it's very interesting that Hodinkee went and did this, and then you know, caused a big stink when they did. These numerals are a little bit different on here, but again, this one's a little bit older, I believe, than these two. I believe these are from the 1940s. This is from the 1930s. Don't quote me on that because it's really hard to find information about when these were actually made. This is a later version because you do have applied rose gold indices on here, and the hands are actually rose gold. Again, loomed, but more modern take on this whole travel clock idea. Like I said, Hodinkee really got a lot of flack for putting a price tag that was so high on these watches, on these clocks. I keep on calling them watches because I usually review watches, but I think they're very interesting. And if you really like that Hodinkee clock, you can go out and get an original for $50. If you really want to get a nice one, and I mean a nice one, if you want to get the 8-day alarm in mint condition, they are out there. You're going to spend anywhere from, honestly, from $300 to $1,500. Of course, you could spend more than that. You could spend $1,500. You could spend $5,900 on a Hodinkee version if you want. However, I don't believe those are even available. I think those all sold out, which is kind of ironic. But quickly, we'll listen to the alarm, and then we will wrap up the video with a quick loom shot. Pretty incredible, I have to say. It's really strong, very loud. When it goes off, if I set it in my house, it scares the living crap out of me and my children and my wife. We all jump because we don't expect it, and I just randomly set them for just random times, and it goes off. It's very, very loud. But they work, and they tell time, and they are actually pretty accurate. I haven't really done a lot of, I have not done any tests on these, but I imagine if I did, I would find that they were surprisingly accurate for how old they are, and none of them have been serviced, obviously. So pretty incredible. And like I said, I've set them to a clock, and then I'll check them a day later, 2 days later, 3 days later, 8 days later, and it will still have the right time. Usually the 2 days obviously, I will check back and within 48 hours, and it will still have the right time within a minute of what I set that clock to. So very, very good. Anyway, quickly, a loom shot, like I said, we'll wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoy this. It's a little bit of a change from the normal watch video that I do. But you know, that Hodinkee clock I thought was kind of absurd. A lot of people were up in arms. I thought it looked really good, and I will be honest, I definitely wanted one. Rock the watch. He has you guys check out his channel. I talk about him all the time on mine. Great guy. He has that Hodinkee clock in his intro, and then he's like he's playing Indiana Jones in his intro, and he throws the sand on the floor when he sees the price of the actual clock. And you know, I guess that makes sense, because these are really actually inexpensive clocks, and you're getting them from a manufacturer that's insanely well known. And Hodinkee, I mean, they put their name on it. What adds that? You know, $5,800 to these clocks, I don't know, but that is what they did, and they got away with it, and they sold every single one. So obviously, I must be wrong, and these are not the ones you want. You want that Hodinkee one. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I'll do a quick loom shot. Okay, well, there you have it. The loom is not going to really hang on these, obviously. You can see these 2 day right here are hanging on a little bit harder, longer than the other ones, because I believe that, well, actually, this one is probably the newest. It's not really hanging on at all, but you can see it is loomed. But the 2 days aren't so bad. The 8 day, the hands are really bright. Those might have been reloomed, and you know, any of these could be reloomed. I wouldn't know if they were or not, obviously, but you could see that the indices fade very quickly on the 8 day time only. Anyway, just a really cool clocks. I just wanted to show you guys and see what guys think also about that Hodinkee clock. I know that was a fiasco for them, but here you are. If you feel like getting a Hodinkee clock, or a clock that's actually, in my opinion, nicer than the Hodinkee clock, definitely check these out. And I would imagine getting one of these serviced is not that hard, because they are pretty common. But maybe I'm wrong. I haven't gotten any of them serviced because they work, and I use them really for display. I don't wind them very, very often. But that's really that. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. I always like to hear from you guys. Tell me in the comments below, what do you think of these clocks? What do you think of that Hodinkee clock? Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. Please also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.